Okay, y'all ready for a little mastery?
Yes.
Ready for a little mastery? Yes. Ready for a little mastery?
Yes.
All right, let's take a breath here. We're going to have a little short centering, spiritual joining. It's going to be one sentence that the ego just is going to love. And I'm going to hammer it in. Nothing you experience has been caused by anything outside of you. Nothing you experience has been caused by anything outside of you. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. Nothing I experience has been caused by anything outside of me. So we're going to be on the veil of projection, and that's on page 28 in the text, in the way of mastery, the way of the heart. And remember, you don't have to believe it, accept it, welcome it. Some of it's going to be hard to believe. Some of it's going to be startling. You're not asked to judge it and analyze it at all. If you use it, you'll see that it's true. And I'd much rather get two ideas clearly than rush through a lot of ideas that we don't remember, personally. So I'm going to start with the veil of projection. And it says, what is projection? You always hear that term, projection, projection. It says projection occurs when there has first been denial within yourself. So projection really is an act in which you psychically try to throw out of your ownership everything that you've judged as being despicable or unworthy of you. In other words, it's where you try to throw out something you don't want. So if you don't want something that's inside yourself that you're denying that's there, he says you will project it. That means you will throw it up and out and let it land on whoever happens to be nearby. So projection is a form of psychic vomiting. Like it says, you will throw it up and you'll let it out and you'll let it land on whoever happens to be nearby. So projection is the effect of the denial of the first axiom that I've given you. It's the denial of the truth that nothing you experience has been caused by anything outside of you. So are you projecting when you project whatever's going on inside yourself and see it in somebody else and let it land on somebody else? Yeah. Okay, so projection is first I'm denying that it's in myself, then I'm going to see it in you. So conversely, if I want to know what's going on inside my own mind, all I have to do is say to myself that truly what's going on inside my mind is what I'm seeing is going on inside of yours. So really you could use projection to your advantage if you used it correctly, because it would be a way for you to get really clear about what's really going on inside your own mind. So looked at correctly, projection could get you out of denial. So tell me what you see in me, and you just found out what's going on in your own mind. So if you really want to know what's going on in your own mind, it's what you're really saying about everything and everybody else. So based on that, how do you feel about what's going on in your own mind? So that would be dependent on whether or not you see in a world that you feel really good about right now, or whether you see in a world that you see yourself not really enjoying very much right now. So if you're projecting that you're seeing some really loving people, really loving circumstances, opportunities, good energy happening in your life, then you're projecting some really cool stuff that's going on inside you. If everywhere around you you see something to judge, criticize, and condemn, and that you don't like, then you're getting in touch with the fact that you got a lot going on inside you that might need to be changed, that might need to be altered. Notice that it's not saying what you think about you, it's saying what it is that you're putting on everybody else around you. And the more intimate the person is to you, the more they're used as a projection screen. So the more intimate the person is to you, the more prone you are to project on. The person that you're not as close to, you have a tendency not to project on as much. So if you want to get past projection, it's nothing you experience that's been caused by anything outside of you. So if I say nothing that's going on right now is being experienced and nothing that's going on is being caused by anything outside of myself, then at that point I am no longer using projection. The Course in Miracles would call it extension. The difference between extension and projection is one of them you're seeing is your mind being extended out, and what you're looking at is your mind. Projection is that you're seeing it, but you're denying it's a part of your mind. So extension is saying that it is in your mind. Projection is saying it's not. That's the difference between extension and projection. So which would give you more of a sense of control over something? If you look like it was connected to you, or if it looked like it wasn't connected to you? Yeah, if I looked at it like what I was looking at was somehow connected to my own mind, then I'd be in a better position to change it than if I thought it had nothing to do with me at all. Okay. So projection is an attempt to insist that reality is other than the way God made it. So in other words, projection is saying you're not powerful, that you're a victim of circumstances, that you're in a world that can actually do things to you and cause you to make decisions that you would not have made otherwise. That is always denial. That's a lie. It's a lie that you're not powerful. It's a lie that you're a victim of circumstances. It's a lie that you're in a world that actually does things to you. And it's a lie that you're in a world that causes you to make decisions that you wouldn't make otherwise. That's a lie. So it's a lie if I tell myself I'm not powerful. It's a lie if I tell myself I'm a victim of circumstances. It's a lie if I say that the world is doing stuff to me. That's a lie. So, based on that, I lie more than I ever could have imagined that I lie. There's a part of me that lies. And I'm willing to admit that there's a part of me that lies because sometimes I do feel like I'm a victim of circumstances. Sometimes it does look like the world is doing things to me. Sometimes it does look like it's not my decisions that's creating what's happening to me. So I tend to lie. Do we have any other sweet, juicy, innocent liars in the house tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay. I'm telling you, these are the cutest liars I've ever seen, though. I tell you that. You know, I'm telling you. So if we just be quiet, we could get away with it, couldn't we? So, in fact, it says projection is the denial of the first axiom of truth. What is the first axiom of truth? Nothing I experience is being caused by anything outside of me. And so we've mastered projection. Then it says when you project into somebody else, you will then believe that your anger and your hatred is justified. So if I want to feel justified in my anger and my hate, then I will project on you that you are doing something that's justifying my anger and my hate. If I want to feel anger and hate, I've got to see that there's something out there for me to hate and to be angry about. So a person who likes to stay angry would have to be a person that's continually projecting and creating things to be upset about. Okay? In fact, the legal system means merely to take the act of projection and the need to judge and make it socially okay. So that you don't have to be concerned with this other as your brother or sister who has been crying out for help. Rather than helping the person that seems to be doing something wrong, we feel like we're justified in punishing someone who has done something wrong. So the legal system, the way it's set up now, actually makes it socially okay to just judge and project but not help. So the system as it's set up right now makes it okay to judge and to punish, but never to help. So people who come out of imprisonment generally come out more angry than they did and more insane than they were when they came in, when they went in, and somehow we think that's helpful, which is really crazy when you think about it. It's amazing how many people that I'll see on TV that they said have committed some kind of a crime, and they'll say they were recently paroled or they recently got out of jail. That's what they said about the guy that shot the warden, that he had just got out of jail 2 weeks ago. And you think someone that just got out of jail wouldn't be trying to do something that could put them right back into jail. But if you come out more guilty than you went in, then you're ready to set yourself back up for some more punishment because you haven't changed your mind about yourself, and so you still think you deserve punishment. If you think you deserve punishment, or better yet, if you think you deserve to die, then you'll kill someone, because that pretty much increases the possibility that you will be incarcerated or killed. Okay, so people give what they want to receive. So you can always tell what a person wants to receive by what they're giving, not by what they're saying. So action speaks much louder than words if you want to keep from hurting your feelings. Pay much more attention to the actions of people than the words that they use, especially those of us sweet, juicy beings that's on the truth path. Because we have a tendency to say all kinds of really nice things all the time that we don't back up with any kind of real discernible action. You know, you might need me to help give you a glass of water at the hospital, but what I'm going to say to you is, I'm with you in spirit. And anybody that's actually physically been hurt knows exactly what I'm talking about, right? You know, it's like your new age friends that'll be sending you all kinds of prayers and white lighting you to death, but they ain't gonna bring over some food and dinner for you. It's usually the people who's not into all this stuff, odd as it may seem. It is. It really is. It's the people that's not in this stuff that actually say, I'm going to come over and bring you dinner. Well, us new age folks, we just going to really let spirit just take care of it all the way.
But we innocent, we sweet, aren't we? Yeah. So we all so cute, and we lie, and we don't come to the aid of people.
Holy Spirit.
But I'm so enlightened. Oh, and y'all just see me glowing up here. I tell you. See, you can't, it's not until you really study this stuff that you can look at your own ego and laugh at the selfishness of your own ego. That's one of the ways you can tell you're getting this, is that you'll see how you aren't the one practicing 90% of the things that you're upset with other people about, but you don't blame yourself and beat yourself up about it. You just become aware of it so that you can make the choice if you want to do it differently or not. If it really is okay with you, if no one brings you dinner, then that's okay not giving dinner. You know what I'm saying? If it's really okay with you, then don't worry about it. You know, if it's okay with you, don't worry about it. If it's okay with you, whether anybody comes or shows up or physically tries to help, don't worry about it. But if you know you would be somebody who would be judging and saying, I don't know why they didn't come over here and bring me some dinner, and I don't know why they didn't help me out, then you might want to be doing it for people around you that you think are going through something. You want to give what you want to receive. If it really doesn't matter, don't worry about it. But don't fool yourself. My experience is, if you're really on your spiritual path, then you will truly be aided, even if it's not by the people that you would have expected to be helped by, but the help will still get to you anyway. That's what I love about studying the truth, is that Spirit comes through for you, and sometimes in the most unusual ways, and usually not even through the people that you thought it was going to happen with. So if you help somebody, don't look for the help to come back through that person necessarily. It's going to come back in the way you need it, in the form you need it, when and where you need it. So you may give somebody else a meal, and it may come back to you in the form of your car breaking down and somebody giving you a boost. So it may not come. So I might not want a meal. What I really need is a boost. So I'm glad that it's going to come back to me in the form that I most need it in. So I won't be looking at it to come back in the exact form I gave it in. It will come back in the form I need it in. Good. That's a good rule, right? All right. It's also, so the system, the prison and punishment system is set up to make it socially okay to just judge and project, but not actually to help. And then it says, rather you become justified in punishment, yet punishment is only the insane attempt to convince the punisher that the darkness and the evil, whatever you want to call it, is not in them, it's actually out there. So punishment further reinforces the idea that the problem is outside and not inside. So now, this is what we're supposed to do as conscious beings. We're supposed to imagine, use our minds, to imagine a society in which the prevalent legal view is simply that this person is an aspect of myself. So when I see, so I'm looking at this person that seems to be on trial or whatever is going on, whatever they're accused of, and I go, this person is an aspect of myself. And if I would help myself, I must help them, meeting each cry for help and healing with forgiveness, with love, and with support. Now, can you imagine for a moment what it would be like to live in a society like that? How it would be different from the world you see. In other words, if I was in the court, looking at the person on trial, seeing them as being me on trial, and then asking myself, how can I help me up there on trial? How can I forgive? How can I extend some kind of love? And how can I extend some kind of support to this person? Imagine the kind of society and the kind of world that we would be living in. Okay, so it happens from our imagination. It happens from us actually taking a minute to actually think about it being that way. Because everything starts with an idea. Then it says, if you would have these things be different, this is the cool part. It must begin with me. If I want it to be different, it must begin with me. For the way to heal the world is not by seeking to change what's on the outside, but by first changing what's on the inside. Because we're already experiencing the result of the attitude that everything on the outside needs to change. That's what we already are experiencing. We already are experiencing what happens in a world where everybody thinks the problem is outside of themselves and it's somebody else. That's the society we're living in right now. So we already know that doesn't work. You talk to everybody and they'll say they think they're the good guy, and then everybody else is the problem, and when everybody else changes, it's going to be okay. There was a time I did door-to-door contact sales, and I went into these houses every night, and it was really interesting. I met really, really nice people. I never got a door slammed in my face or anything like that. And you get to know them, and you go in there, and they think it's the other people that's the problem. So what I realized was that there are really a whole lot of nice people. Many more nice people than there are people who aren't. Tons more than the people who aren't. And when I say tons more, I mean way more than the people who rob, who kill, who attack. I mean, it's not even, I would say 95% of the people in Denver, if not more, are just as peaceful as you and I are. And what we see on the news is a projected image of the few that's not. And so it makes us think everybody's like that. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. If you woke up tomorrow and they said 25 people were murdered last night, everybody would freak out. Do you know what percentage 25 people are of the population of this area? It wouldn't even be 1%. And that's 25. We don't even hear 25. So think about that for a second. That's if they said 25 people were killed or robbed last night. You follow me? So it's much more realistic, and it's much more of the truth to recognize that there are many more people that are loving and healing and supportive and peaceful than it is to think that we have to be on the lookout every second for that somebody's going to get us, going to mug us, going to hurt us. That's the projection. That's what the Course says, that the ego distorts and then magnifies the fearful aspects and completely diminishes all the love around you. I would bet that there's nobody in this room that's probably been physically attacked 10 times in their life. And if they have, it still wouldn't be 1% of their life, of the times that you've been safe and the times that nothing's ever happened to you. What's my point? That we're a lot more safe, and we're a lot more loved, and we're a lot more safe environment than we tell ourselves, and that's a fact, and that's not rose-colored glasses, that's actually a fact. And that's good to know, you know. So what kind of experience would we live in if somebody did something to upset you, and the first thing you said to yourself is, this person is an aspect of myself, and what could I do to support them, to heal them, to forgive them, to allow them to somehow be helped in this situation as opposed to attacked in this situation? What would be the advantage of that? The advantage of that would be, I would be increasing in my own consciousness the idea of being helped when I'm in pain or when I do something. So that means when I do something that's not loving, when I do an act that may be some form of attack, instead of people punishing me, I will attract people who will want to help me, because I always receive what I have given. So seeing things as a call for love actually is good for you, because that ensures that when you need it, it'll be there for you. So it's not like you're giving something to somebody else and you're not going to benefit from it. Actually, you're going to benefit a lot from it, because you're going to be creating a consciousness that says, when I'm in fear, when I'm hurting, when I've done something, I'll attract compassion back to me. Why? Because that's the way I've looked at it when I looked at other people who have also done something. Why wouldn't a person do that? Why wouldn't a person want to see it that way?
That's hard.
I said, remember, it's different. What's happened is that it seems like it's hard, but it's actually more different than hard. It's like we just haven't been taught to do it. And what we're being asked to do is just to look at it differently. You know, that's all. You know, it's not saying that you justify violence or that you justify attack. It's just giving you another way to look at it that won't limit you and also be helpful to the other person. Because what you really want to do is change the cause. And you're not changing the cause unless you help change the person's mind. And so if they just feel more and more attacked, they're just going to attack more and more. Even though the ego feels good to think that they're getting a whole lot of punishment. You know. That's all right. I personally have never had my phone go off in public anywhere, but I didn't want it to. Any questions or comments about what we've covered so far? So I'm not denying that it would be difficult in situations to see it as a call for love. I'm not denying that, because we haven't yet got to the point that we love ourselves enough to see it that way. It's not so much I can't see it that way because of what the person has done, The Course says the reason why it's hard for me to see it as a call for love is because of how I feel about myself unconsciously. That's what makes it hard, because I would be letting me off the hook. And we've been taught that punishment is correction. We've been taught that punishment is correction. And so we think to correct somebody, you punish them.
It seems insane that we think love is more difficult than fear, but we do.
Absolutely.
Really, fear is easy. I can be afraid all the time. That's really easy.
Yeah, and it's really just a habit.
Yeah.
It's really just the way you've learned to look at things, and it is easier to look at things the way you've always looked at them. Absolutely. I would never deny that it's easier to look at it the way you've always looked at it. So yeah.
You said punishment reinforces, and we were talking about the legal system, but I didn't catch the rest part of the last part of punishment reinforces, and then there was a word that.
Yeah, punishment is a request. When you punish someone, then what you're doing is reinforcing the guilt that created the idea to begin with. You know, when you punish me, let's face it, if you punish me, I'm going to be more want to get you back. That's not really a mystical concept. You know what I'm saying? That's the way, especially if I'm not the kind of person who takes responsibility for what I'm going through. You know, if I'm already in that situation because I'm not really being responsible for myself, and you punish me, I'm still not going to take responsibility for myself. You've just given me something else to want to attack you about. I'll just add that to the list. So nothing's helped, actually. Woo! Yeah, somebody else had a comment?
Well, Earl, I wanted, because you were asking something to the effect of, like, why we don't look at it this way, like the book is saying. And for me, and it's uncomfortable, but I need to be honest, but for me sometimes it's easier for me to be attracted to the idea of, like, you know, wanting that person to get what they deserve and wanting that revenge.
Well, that's what I said. That it is easier to do what you've already instinctively habitually learned how to do than to do something that's totally different from what you're taught to do. But there's no excuse to continue to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Course is saying. You know, why won't I see it that way? It says because of my imagined need to attack. That's why I won't see it that way. I want to attack you. But since I think you're separate from me, that's easy to want to attack you. But the ones I see you, like he says, is an aspect of myself, then I would want you to suffer. See, at the point that I really know I'm you and you're me for real, then I would want to make sure you didn't go to bed hungry any more than I didn't go to bed hungry. I would want you to have a roof over you as much as I would have one over me. Now, that's why the idea of oneness isn't very popular. Because the ego tells us, it gives us an increased sense of responsibility for everybody around us, which we don't want. So it's much more easy just to see you as separate from me than to see you as a part of me. Because if I saw you as a part of me, then I have to start having a more cosmocentric attitude about things. I have to start going beyond my own ego and being as concerned about others as I am about myself. That's not the way that we work when we're still in the ego-oriented consciousness. It's just about me and those who are special to me that I'm concerned about. I'm not really concerned about anybody else. But as you begin to wake up, you realize that you become more conscious of everyone's benefit and not just your own. And then you realize, well, if it's me, then I want you to eat. Because I want to eat too. You know what I mean? I'm going to give what I want to receive. That's one of the cool things about becoming evolved. As you become more evolved, you naturally become more generous, you become more giving, you become more compassionate. All that stuff we read about in the books, that just happens naturally as you begin to recognize that everybody is part of you and connected to you. So most people just have a relationship with a few people that's really special, right? So at least start with them. You know, even if you're not ready to do it with the person next door, at least be compassionate and understanding and giving with the person that you say is special. The people that you say are special to you. At least start there. You know, some people won't even do it with them. So, I don't know, giving what I want to receive does not sound as hard to me as it used to. or not trying to control other people and make other people act out my script. It's not as hard as it used to be. I find that the truth is always asking me to do less than my ego is. My ego is always wanting me to do a lot more than I. Yeah, your ego. The ego is always wanting you to. You know, it's like I've said many times. There are people who will work 70 hours a week on a job they don't like, and they'll get up every morning and do it every day to get up, be there on time, and stay there until it's time for them to go home and afterwards. But if you say to that same person, get up in the morning, spend 15 minutes focusing on God and meditation and doing a spiritual practice, and then watch yourself evolve into all the things that you've been working so hard to try to make happen because you're letting God be a part of it. And the average person will not do the 15 minutes, but they will go do the 70 hours a week. It's a trip, but it's the absolute truth. It's the absolute truth. So as you begin, because if you really and truly do more than attack your own spiritual practice, which is, I'm doing it, I'm constantly testing God. You know what I mean by testing God? If this is true, then I should have X amount of money right now. If this is true, I should have my soulmate right now. If this is true, then I should have the job of my dream. When you test the truth like that, you're going to come up short every time. Because it's not a bargain. It's a releasing the blocks to let it flow through you and to allow it. So if you're testing God right now, then you're just increasing your grievances. Because you're getting upset every time it doesn't turn out the way you think you want it to.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. Well, I've been studying this for X amount of weeks or months now, and I'm not getting the result that I think I should get. You're just building a grievance. It's the same old process. I'm mad. It's not going the way I want it to go. Now I'm mad. And so then you wonder why nothing changes. You're doing just the opposite of everything that it's sharing with you and telling us to do. The truth is, I have to say everything is for my own best interest. I had a good example of that today. There was a real challenge that I had to breathe. Because one of my very favorite artists of all time that I enjoy is Prince. And Prince is coming to town, and he's going to do 4 shows at the Ogden, which would be like a really intimate venue to experience Prince in. You know, and I was like, whoa, right? So I'm like, wow, boy, there's nothing I love more than to see Prince this close up, and I know what his energy is like. And I was over friends, and they said, well, I was gonna, would you like to go to the Prince? I wasn't even expecting this. Would you like to go to the Prince show? I'll buy you a ticket. Wow. Tickets are $250 each.
Yes.
So, and it happened right in the middle of a Course in Miracles study session, which makes perfect sense, right? And of course, the weekend that he's coming, I'm going to be in England.
Oh.
And so I went. So I went. It was so great though, because the first thing that came up in my mind was, first I felt my disappointment. I said, I don't believe in pretending I don't feel what I feel in the name of being spiritual, because that's not spiritual. So I admitted to myself I felt disappointed. And then the thought that came right behind that one was, I do not perceive my own best interest. I don't know. I have to trust that for some reason it's for my own best interest not to be here and not to go to that show. Because that perception made me feel better than to think I had just lost. So the purpose of changing your interpretation is that it changes your emotional response to what's going on. So even though I still felt disappointed, it wasn't as bad as I would have felt if I thought it was not somehow for my own best interest. You follow what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying about applying this stuff. You applying it means when something comes up that upsets you, you try to go through what this teaches, rather than to go to the part of me to go, oh, nothing goes right for me. I can't believe I don't really want to see Prince, and I won't be able to go. So I did that for about 20 seconds, and then the next thing I realized, for some reason, I'm not supposed to see Prince this time. But it was just so funny that not only that I was invited to go, but it wasn't like a $20 ticket. You know what I'm saying? So I was more impressed by the friend that was willing to pay $250 for me to go to see a Prince show than going to see Prince. And so I found myself really trying to impress that person how much I was moved by the fact that they would be willing to buy me a ticket to go see Prince, and they wasn't even in a special relationship with me. So in that way, because usually, you know what I'm saying, like usually you think it's got to be something really deep and intense going on, but it was just pure appreciation.
Wow.
So it was like, oh wow. So in the end, the thing that meant the most to me was the offer to have it done.
Yeah, right.
That was the gift. It was like, whoa, wow. You know, because the person wanted, you know, thought I would enjoy it and wanted my company. You know, so that was my pop quiz. And you get pop quizzes, you know. Anybody else have a pop quiz lately? Did care to share? Anybody got into pop quizzes, something that came up and they found themselves handling it different than they would have ordinarily handled it?
Well, for me, I've been sick the past few days, and usually I was so sick on Sunday that I had to even call in to work, and usually I just start feeling guilty, oh, I'm bad and I should have done this, but but I don't know. I just I just did some breathing and I just asked to see it in a different way, and ask for correct perception and truth.
Wonderful, because that's how you decrease your sick days. See, the only reason the things that happen in our lives that upset us the way that they do are happening is to eventually drive us to go within for the answers and to start applying the truth. And if you just voluntarily start doing it on your own, you don't have to keep attracting things to you that get you to the point one day that you say, I give up, there must be a better way. And the Course in Miracles says that's exactly what happens. You have to go, I give up, there must be a better way. So people continue to do their same habits over and over again until they have to surrender and give up. They have to get to the point and go, I give up. And as soon as you really mean that, the answer shows up. The solution shows up. Which is sometimes can be a little bit more challenging for the male ego again, because the masculine or the male ego is so programmed that we should be able to handle everything, and you should be in charge, and you should be in control, and you should be able to make it just the way you want it to be. So it seems to be even more challenging for men to surrender to something greater than their own ideas about what should be going on. Because both the average masculine doesn't know that you're supposed to be we all are supposed to be in a feminine relationship to God. And in a sense, a masculine relationship to our world. In other words, we're receiving and then we're giving. We're receiving and then we're giving. We're receiving. We're not making it up ourselves and then giving. We're supposed to be receiving the information, receiving the guidance, and then doing it. Adults tend to, I'm going to make up what to do and then do it. And then it doesn't work because it wasn't their guidance. It was what they made up. It was their fantasy. And the guidance that we receive will give us more joy. What we do from the guidance we receive will actually give us more joy than what we make up for ourselves. And I really want to have joy. I want to have fun. I want to enjoy this amusement park. This is an amusement park, you know. This is a gigantic amusement park, and it has scary rides as well as rides that aren't very scary. So some people love the horror houses, and then some people never go in it. You know what I'm saying? When you go to the amusement park, you tend not to ride everything, right? Okay, some people like the stuff that makes you scream, and then some people avoid that, and they like the merry-go-round. You know what I mean? So you know which one you like by your life so far. Your life so far will let you know whether you're the person that goes to the amusement park and always like to be on the edge, dealing with something that's upsetting you or frightening you, or whether you're the person that's in the amusement park and wants to be on the rides that's not threatening at all. So I'm about 80% non-horror ride, and probably 20% horror ride. Every now and then, frightening ride. Where are you on your ride in the amusement park?
I'm on the merry-go-round.
You on the merry-go-round?
Oh, yes. Right behind
you. Right there with Bunny.
I just like the Ferris wheel.
You like the Ferris wheel? That's cool. Wouldn't it be cool if we really looked at it that way? Like this is an amusement park, and we're God children, and this is the kind of amusement park that God children create. It looks like a whole freaking world. Wow.
Wasn't that the singer that did the amusement park? for himself.
Michael.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had an amusement park in his house.
Decided that was.
Yeah, he definitely decided he wanted to go on the horror ride, so too. You know,
Yeah.
Michael had a lot of guilt that he had to deal with. Let's see here. Isn't it interesting how we miss it? You know, it's like we miss the call for love that's right in front of our face. You know, but I've seen very few famous people who did not get built up and then torn down. You know, it's like the same public that worships you at some point is the same public that crucifies you. I haven't seen where that's not been the case. You know, Justin Bieber is going through that right now. He went from he couldn't do anything wrong and he was the cutest thing in the world to now everything that possibly can be said to judge, criticize, condemn him, or attack. Same thing. Tiger Woods was another example. You know what I'm saying? It's like we condemn people as if we've never done anything. Like I love what Jesus said in the Bible about, you know, he without sin, let him cast the first stone. Because it's really funny to me how we are so good at judging everybody as if we've never made an error or never done anything except been in total integrity every minute, you know. And the Course in Miracles says that that's just another way to try to be special. That when you don't really love yourself the way you should and you're very insecure, you try to get your specialness by how much you can put somebody else down. So you become superior by the more you can judge and see yourself as better than your brother or sister. So people who don't know the truth get their specialness through judgment and condemnation and trying to make themselves feel like they're superior to somebody else. Or he says inferior to somebody else. You do it two ways. Some people get their specialness by being more pitiful than everybody else. And then some people get their specialness by appearing to be better than everybody else. Have you seen both of them?
What if you are?
I are both.
What if you are what?
Better than everybody else.
You actually aren't better than everybody else. You know, right. It's like you can think you are though. That's the whole point of judging everybody. So I can think I am. You know, and that's also the purpose of a special relationship. It's a relationship that's supposed to give you that specialness that God didn't give you. God didn't single me out and make me the most special thing in the world, so you are. You're going to give me the worship that God didn't give me. You're going to set me apart in the way that my Creator didn't. And so it's funny is that that's really the Course says what a person wants a special relationship for, and usually that's where they deny that to themselves the most. It's the place they're looking for it the most. But it's going to change. It's going to change to be just the opposite, where you'll be in a relationship with people who see your significance and see your beauty and never want you to forget it. As a matter of fact, it almost be how much can we compliment each other and appreciate each other context. It's like it becomes like how many good things can I say about you? How many different ways can I tell you I appreciate you? That's what's going to happen in your relationships instead of the way it used to be, where the other person will be the main one pointing out your faults and your flaws and what needs to change about you. That's the difference between what the Course calls a holy relationship and a special relationship. A holy relationship is a relationship where you're constantly being reminded of how loving you are, and a special relationship is where the other person is trying to make themselves seem better by putting you down in some way. So they're still trying to get their specialness, but that's their cry for help. So that's still a cry for help. Absolutely. Okay, so let's go on. Unless there's another question to come in, we can go a little bit further. Yes, brother.
Well, Earl, when it says over here, imagine then a society in which the prevalent level view is simply that your brother or your sister is an aspect of yourself. What do you do when, like, because, like, I've watched shows where, like, people do crimes that, like, for me, like, horrify me. And, like, it's hard for me to, like, see that person as an aspect of myself, because that kind of stuff that they did just like horrifies me, and like for me it's scary to see that I would be capable of doing that kind of stuff.
That's why you're horrified. You're horrified because you recognize that there's a part of you that knows exactly what it's like to do something like that. That's why you're feeling horrified. Because you wouldn't feel horrified if you wasn't aware of what that was like, what they were doing. But that's your opportunity to finally let yourself out. I didn't say you were supposed to run up to them, embrace them, and say you're the sweetest thing in the world. It says that you're supposed to see it as a call for help. It didn't say you didn't say you were supposed to run up there and necessarily be the one to do anything about it. And I'll tell you why. You can tell that you're not the one that's supposed to go up there and give them a hug. You know why? Because you're the one that's horrified and is judging them for what they've done.
Right.
So you're obviously not the one that's supposed to do anything. You're the one that's supposed to be learning how to see them differently. Okay, got it?
Yeah.
So when you're seeing it as a call for love, that doesn't mean that you're necessarily the one that's supposed to help them, because you don't really know how to help them. You don't really know what's best for them. You aren't God in that sense. So you're not even the one to judge what. Do you know how many people have been crucified and hurt because somebody was trying to do a good deed and help them? Do you know how many people have suffered because of somebody else's intention about what they thought was best for everybody else? Yeah, it's the good Samaritans and the people who think they're the most self-righteous in what they're doing that usually inflict the greatest amount of harm on society. The ones who think their way is the right way for everybody. So just because I see what you're doing as a call for help doesn't mean I know what I'm supposed to do to help you. It means I ask the Holy Spirit what I should do to help you. And listen to what the Holy Spirit within me says. And sometimes it's going to say, and I would venture to say most of the time, it's going to say, pray for them.
So then my horror at that is actually my call and my need for forgiveness.
That's right. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And if you see it that way, brother, then you'll see fewer and fewer people in your life who seem to be doing horrible things. Remember, like Spirit told me today in meditation, if you look at the world correctly, he says it becomes very obvious to you what this world is for. It's giving you endless opportunities to see things as a call for help, and it's giving you endless opportunities to be helpful. Like all day long, you're getting another opportunity to see it differently. You're getting another opportunity to see it differently. You're getting another opportunity. Think about it. All day long, look at the paper, look at TV, be around your co-workers. All day long, if getting out of the painful, fearful world was a matter of me learning how to see things as a call for help, then I would be in a cornucopia, because I got so many opportunities all day long to see things differently. If you really wanted to heal and change your mind and be a more loving person, what could be a better place than this? If you're really about changing your mind, you're becoming more loving. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you're going to learn how to rescue people and you're a fireman, and you're in your training as a fireman, then they're going to set up mock drills that give you an opportunity to practice saving somebody, so that you can become good at doing it, right? So if we're here to learn how to love ourselves, then we would have to be given endless opportunities to see it another way, so we can forgive ourselves for our own past. It's really set up to free us from our grievances and our pain. That's really set. I would thank you for helping me have another way of looking at this, Holy Spirit. This is just another opportunity. What I'm seeing on the news is just another opportunity for me to free myself. Yes, you're just getting another opportunity to free yourself by the way you're seeing it. Woo! If you would have these things be different, it must begin with you. For the way to heal the world is not by seeking to change. The Course says that too. Stop trying to change what's on the outside. First change what's on the inside. When that change has occurred, you will become a conduit for an energy. Now check it out. It says you will become a conduit for an energy that knows how to use your gifts and how to place you in the right situations. And a great power will work effectively through you. The power alone that knows how to heal whose world? Your world. So I'll say it again. The way to heal the world is not by trying to change what's happening in the world on the outside. The way you change your world is to change yourself on the inside. When you make that change, you will become a conduit for an energy that knows how to use your gifts and how to place you in all the right situations, and a great power will work through you effectively, and that power knows how to heal your world. So all I have to do to let the power that will heal my world come through is say, I'm not going to try to change you anymore. All I'm going to do right now is change what's going on inside my mind, and when that has occurred, then I become a conduit, and this energy uses all of my natural talents and puts me in the perfect situations that heal my world. See, we were just told how to have what we want. Damn, it wasn't exactly exciting to hear, was it? Because the Course in Miracles teaches that whenever someone wants your help and they're not conscious yet, they're always looking for you to tell them how the change is going to happen without them having to somehow be involved in it. And that's why we don't get excited when we hear answers. That's why people don't jump up and down. Because they want to be able to have it. It's like they want to be able to have their whole life change without them having to change. It's like, how the Course put it, say when the ego mind listens to something, it's listening from the perspective of how can I stay exactly the way I am right now, but without the suffering that entails. I want to stay exactly the way I am right now, but I want to stay this way, but I don't want to keep going through the stuff that I go through because I'm this way. You know? And I have to be honest with myself and go, that's exactly right. I basically want to stay exactly the way I am without, and have everything around me change. And I'm waiting for somebody to tell me how that can happen. And until you tell me how that can happen, then I'm not really interested. That's why people get much more excited about a lottery ticket than they will about changing their own mind. Because again, it looks like something outside themselves is going to put them on easy street. So people get excited.
I'm going to bring up two examples that I've kind of seen too, in how you are affects the world you live in. Like, just two little examples. Like, I have, let's say I have one friend that let's say she's always seeing people like run through a puddle and splash other people. Okay, I never see that. But when I'm with her, I see it. And it's almost like she expects it or looks, it's like she draws that energy where that happens in her life. When then I have another friend that she finds money all the time. She doesn't go around and say, I want to find money. She just is money. I don't know. It just comes to her. So when I'm with her, we find money all the time. And if I'm looking, I don't see money. But you get next to her, and it's almost she attracts an energy of people drop money for her. I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. It's like whatever you... And it's not like a manifestation. It's not like a expectation. It's just who they are.
Yeah, they've already developed
something.
a consciousness that allows that to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That she's already developed a consciousness that allows money to just show up in her experience unexpectedly. Right.
Over and over.
Yeah, but you got things in your life to do the same thing. Yeah. All of us do. All of us have things we seem to have no problem manifesting pretty easily. And then there's some areas we've been trying to get a change in for as long as we can remember. And we haven't. Like I said, one of the most amazing things one time was when I ran across a diary that I wrote when I was in the 7th grade. Oh, God. And my sister gave it to me, much to my horror. And, she had read it.
She knows about today.
When you're a young boy in puberty, so now you got a pretty limited conversation in your diary, let me tell you. But she, bless her heart, she didn't say nothing. But the point that I was making was the same issues that I still deal with in some areas right now. I swear to God, they were in that diary. And some of the things that seem like they happen really, really easy was in that diary. So even at that age, at 12 years old, I found myself saying some of the same things that I would find myself saying later.
That's why we get frustrated about changing the inside. We've been trying since we're in 7th grade.
But the part that we leave out is God. See, that's the part we leave out. We listen to it from the perspective of how can I do this on my own? Yeah. You're supposed to tell me something tonight that I can do on my own without God to change the situation. Yeah. So the real problem is the lack of faith in God.
Yes.
That's really our only problem. But that's the last one that people want to hear, especially if you have no faith.
Yeah.
It's the last thing. If I don't believe in a higher power and you tell me the answer is a higher power, that is a very frustrating proposition that you've just given me. But I like to pretend that I do. Because pretty much good people pretend that they really believe in a higher power. So one of the ways that you heal your relationship with the higher power is to admit you have no faith in the higher power so that you can develop faith and be taught how to have faith. But the average person, that's the last thing they're going to say is, the truth is, I don't really believe in God. I don't believe in something. It's me. I got to do this. I got to take care of it, and then I'll decide to say God did it. But it's really I got to do it. then I'll say God did it. You know, people make up the voice for God, and it says God. You know, God told me to do that. And then of course says, well, how satisfied are you? Well, I'm not satisfied. Well, that wasn't what God told you to do. You know, it's not something God told you to do and you don't feel satisfaction and fulfillment according to the courses that we're studying. That's how you know it came from your higher power, is that you aren't unfulfilled. He says that anything that you make up, as soon as you get it, he says you want something else. Almost as soon as it occurs, before you even gets warm, you know, cool off a little bit. You're already on your next thing that you got to have in order to be happy. He says those are all ego desires. Ego desires are always insatiable. So based on that, I realized I had a lot of ego desires. So I'm going to tell the truth about that. I lie, I have ego desires, and I project, and I sometimes think punishment is correction. See? So I want to get past this stuff. And the way to get past this stuff is to get out of denial about it. But then don't be depressed. Because I'm not going to get my butt kicked. Spirit doesn't punish. So it's okay for me to say it. I'm not going to get punished for saying this. There's no punishing God. It doesn't exist. The Course says we pray to gods that don't exist and then wonder why our prayers aren't answered. There is no God of punishment. So whenever you pray into one, you're praying to nothing. Then you wonder why things aren't happening. You know what I'm saying? Most people are praying to a God that doesn't exist. And they wonder why things aren't changing. I love it when a person says, my child made it, we made it through the storm, thank God, but the other person who died during the storm, somehow or another, oh, God didn't care about them. Maybe God loved them more, that's why they are not around. How about that one? You still, like people say, okay, I got my bum shelter and I got all my shelter and my food and all in case there's, nuclear holocaust, I still be around. I said, God, I don't want to be.
Yeah.
I don't want to be around if it's a nuclear holocaust. Don't tell you. Hey, could you imagine being in this world with no food and no modern conveniences and all the stuff we're accustomed to? You'll see people become like animals so fast it will freak you out. We already not looking out for each other the way we should.
So much for the 95% nice people. They're going to be gone.
Here's your exception. If you truly have a loving consciousness, if you truly have made your connection to Source, if you're really plugged in the Spirit, you'll still be okay. Because God is still going to be around. You know what I'm saying? So if you really have changed your mind, then you're going to always let yourself have that support. So even if you did live through it, you'd probably be okay. You'd be the one person that's, in the right place at the right time, But I personally, I'll just about me. I personally don't care for that particular test. When I see how my brothers and sisters, we tend to do with each other with modern conveniences, with things, with money. Right. So it's hard for me to imagine what it would be like with none of those things. And so we don't have to go through that. We can have a change of mind that we tune into the reality where mankind wakes up and realize that they need to start loving themselves and projecting that love onto the planet and everything around. We do have that choice. We don't have to be in a world that ends in destruction. The Course says that the world should end in laughter. At the end of the world, you'll be laughing. And so that sounds cool, because when you're laughing, he says you're no longer in the world, because the world is not where a person just only laughs. So the end of the world isn't death. The end of the world is a change of mind. Isn't that cool? Yes. I have already ended my world. I'm in another world than the world I used to be in. Already. I'm already in another world. I've already experienced the end of the world. My friends and my experience and the people I'm around and the energies that I have in my life is nothing like it would have been at another time. I'm already in another world. And I bet you some of you all are too. All you got to do is just listen to some of your friends and you're in another world. Yeah. Because I know all the people that people say don't exist. And I feel so blessed in that. I know all the people that people say don't exist. It's amazing. I look at my Facebook page and I look at my news feed, and you would swear that everybody on my news feed was some kind of a consciously evolving spiritual student or teacher, because all the news feeds are just generally saying something very loving, something very positive, people posting things that are about evolving and waking up.
Right.
You know, it's like, it's amazing to see what my Facebook friends post. I just nothing, 99% is loving, consciously evolving thoughts, feelings, emotions, and teachings and everything else. You know, so I'm glad to know it's true. I just have to change my mind. That's so much easier.
Isn't this how, like according to the Course, isn't this how this all began? The tiny man idea
Yeah.
that we forgot to laugh about?
Yeah. We're infinite beings who create through our thought, who had the thought, what would it be like to be separate? What would it be like to think I was somehow flawed? What would it be like to think I was a body? What would it be like? He says, and from that idea, we created an experience where it looks like we are separate. But he also says it's a dream because we can't really be separate. So we're just having the dream that we're separate. And he says that's why it doesn't last. That's why nothing here lasts, because it's not based on eternal love. And anything that's not based on eternal love can't last. Which means that's why most relationships don't last. If you're not loving each other for real, it ain't gonna last, and it shouldn't last. It's a good thing it don't last.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing. That if it's not real, it's not gonna survive. If it's not loving, it's not gonna keep going. That's a cool thing to me. I'm glad that the errors I make cannot last. I'm glad that if I don't love me, whatever's making me not love me can't last, because it's not based on any kind of a real love or real truth. So no matter how much a person doesn't love themselves, they can't stay in a state that's painful and fearful forever. It's impossible. If nothing else but you leave the body, you won't be in it forever. It's set up that way. You can't. Thank you, God. Thank you for loving me more than I love myself. Thank you for wanting me to have peace and joy more than I want to have it for myself. So much so that if the relationship isn't good for me, you won't let it last even if I want to. If the job isn't right for me, you won't let it last even if I want to. Thank you, God. Now, I might get upset because I think I was laid off, or I might get upset because I thought I lost the love of my life. But the truth is, it's gone because it's not real. And I've learned everything I need to learn from it right now, and that's good. And I'm going to bless them, I'm going to bless me, and we're going to move on. You know, you don't have to make nobody love you. Isn't that good to know?
Yes.
Are you ready to be a conduit? You can be a conduit and you can be a can do it. So I'm going to be a conduit, can do it. There are many that would love to march for peace by angrily attacking those who make war. But if you would create peace in the world, you must be at peace yourself. So projection is an act of trying to get rid of what you don't want to own within. Projection is the effect of the denial of truth. Projection colors your brother and sister with the very energies that you would judge within yourself. So how can you begin to break the pattern of projection? How can you begin to break the pattern of projection? How can you allow the bridge of forgiveness to be built? It is actually, what did it say? Quite simple. Quite simple. But it will require the thing that a teacher tends to see least of all.
Right.
Commitment. You all have had a lot of commitment. You know, there's been a lot of people that's been here ever since we started going through this. It doesn't require anything but commitment. It's simple, but it requires commitment. So, awakening requires vigilance and discipline. Vigilance and discipline. So, would you say that it's easier for you to do something that you really want to do? So that means that wouldn't you have a much better chance that you would actually do something that you wanted to do?
Yeah.
So one of the main ways to get past a discipline problem would be what? To be doing as much as you can that is what you want to do, not what you should do, not what you gotta do, not what you ought to do, but what you want to do. Now, do you see why most people are not committed? Because most people are acting from their security urge and not from their creative urge. They're doing things for security, not because their heart is into it. So it's hard for them to stay disciplined unless there is fear of loss. So they go to work because they're afraid to lose their job, which means you're not going to have the money to pay your bills. So the ego world uses fear to motivate you. Spiritual world uses joy and love to motivate you. It's so good, you want to make sure that you keep it going, because it's so good, you want to make sure it keeps on happening. All right. So I've said to you many times that the world you see is nothing more than the effects of thoughts you have held within the mind. Y'all notice he said that a few times. Sometimes I think if I hear that one more time, I'm a barf.
Maybe you'll hear it.
It's like that's what I'm saying. It's like, how many times do I need to hear this before I go ahead and start doing what I'm told? Therefore, awakening requires the act of what? Vigilance and discipline. The discipline to cultivate a way of living in which you observe your own thoughts. Okay, here you go. Now we're being told. What do? First of all, you cultivate a way of living that you're always observing your thoughts. Oh, I had cultivated a way of living where I was observing everybody else's thoughts. I don't know about you. Then he says, you cultivate a way of living in which you listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth. Oh, heck. I've cultivated a way that I'm always listening to the words that come out of everybody else's mouth and judging those. So you mean even as I'm talking to you right now, I need to be listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth? That's exactly what I do when I listen to the classes that I've recorded. I'm listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Okay, that's good, Purdy. You're doing good. Also cultivate a way of living in which you observe the feelings that are evoked within your body. Okay, so you're also paying attention to what? How you feel, what words are coming out of your mouth, and you're observing the thoughts that you have. So I'm observing the thoughts that I have, I'm listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth, and I'm also observing the feelings that are coming up in my body, and the reactivity that seems to own me to see things as innocent and simply self-caused. So how do I see things as if I'm the one that's creating it? How do I get to that power to change my experience? Number one, I observe my own thoughts. Then I listen to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Then I pay attention to the feelings that I'm having in my body. I'm also looking at the way that I'm reacting to things. And then that allows me to see things as innocent and that I caused them. He just ran down exactly what you do to change your mind. Notice he still didn't tell us who else was supposed to make it all right for us. So it didn't excite us, did it? Not really. Some of us, you might be doing all you can just to keep your eyes open right now. Some of y'all can feel like you're about to pass out. That's okay. I'm still going to do it anyway. You're responsible for your attention. I'm responsible for mine. I can't be trying to keep everybody tuned in and awake. If you don't give a damn about your happiness, I can't get no more than you do. And you innocent and I'm innocent. I just drive myself crazy with that. Like, how can I keep everybody really motivated and really, it's like, fuck it. You keep you motivated.
Yeah.
It's not my job to make you excited about your path. But I was like, oh, what can I do to keep everybody excited? It's like, nothing.
But Earl?
What?
If I do what this says, where I'm listening, I'm observing my thoughts, I'm listening to what I say, I'm feeling what I'm feeling, I'm watching my reactivity, there is no question that I'm creating my experience.
And then you start to have the experience you've always wanted. And you start to have all the things you're dreaming about. And you're not working your can off every day doing something that you don't like. And that's what I realized. It's like, Earl, nobody had to force you to give attention to your spiritual path from the time that you first got turned on by it. I didn't have to go to make other people make me get excited about the truth. I was totally excited about the truth. And that excitement sustained me for 30 years because I wanted to see my life change, and then I was seeing it happening, and it keeps me motivated. That's why you see me up here motivated. It's because I love this stuff.
Yeah.
I love to hear this stuff. This is not something for me that I'm gonna make myself listen to the truth tonight. I hope he make me laugh so I can stay awake tonight. It's like, no! You keep yourself excited about the truth. It's your life. It's your relationships. It's your finances. It's your career. I can't care no more than you do. But I'm willing to do everything I possibly can to support you. Yes. But I can't throw the ball to you and run down the field. Now the Holy Spirit will. Mm-hmm. The Course says the Holy Spirit will. The Holy Spirit will do it for you. But I got to learn how to communicate with the part of me that does that. I got to know how it operates. I got to be willing to do it. I want an easy life. I want a harmonious, fun, abundant life. I don't want to struggle. I don't want to be bored. I want to be excited and have an exciting experience. And this freaking book is telling me, well, if you want one, buddy, you better start putting out what you want to receive. Okay. You mean I actually have to be what I want to have? Yes. You can't be the saddest person in the room and think you're going to attract the happiest person in the room. You know, you're going to have to be what you want to have. God is so unreasonable. You ask the average person what kind of person they want to be with, they're going to tell you what. I want somebody that's exciting and aware and smart and passionate and fun and sensual and adventurous and open-minded and, well, would a person like that want you? Think about it. Would a person like that want you? Would a person with all those positive attributes, would they go walk in the room and go, oh yeah, I gotta have you, baby? When you're not exemplifying any of those characteristics whatsoever? It was like, wow, thank you, Holy Spirit. I got to start putting out the kind of energy in my experience that I want. That's why no matter how anybody in the room is feeling, you feel me still come in with energy. Because I have to give what I want to receive. I got to give it. And I'm going to give it to you. That's the beauty of it. I get a chance to give it to you. And then not necessarily expect you to give it back to me, because if I expect you to give it back to me, then it's going to affect the purity of my giving. Then that's how you build grievances, because then if I give the energy to you, I say, well, I gave the energy to the class tonight, and the class didn't give me no energy. You know, no, that's the old paradigm. I'm giving it because I love to give it. I'd much rather be in here with enthusiasm than to be in here with none. I'm here, so I need to enjoy it. Especially the price of gas.
Parking.
Right. All of a sudden, it's like, man, I'm expecting the universe to constantly give me what I'm not giving to anybody. I'm going to cut that stuff out. You had your hand up?
Well, you know, the problem with that part is that when I do all those things and I see that it's self-caused, I see that I'm causing my depression, my sadness, that I'm punishing myself, that I'm reacting to things that have nothing to do with anything except petty little fears. I mean, I see all that stuff. So if I just keep watching, eventually I'll kind of pass through that a little bit. And, okay, I just wanted to mention that. Yeah, okay.
And you want to be around someone who will remind you, if you so choose, that if awakening requires vigilance and discipline, then what we got to do is what? Number one, we got to start observing the way we think. Number two, we need to listen to the words that's coming out of our mouth. Number three, I need to start paying attention to the feelings I'm having in my body. Number four, I need to also be aware of my reactivity. Notice it said reactivity. I should get in touch with how I'm reacting to things and what it is that I'm reacting to do what? To see things as innocent, to see things as self-caused. So if I really wanted to do this, I would be able to tell myself that without looking at the book. In other words, I would get to the point that I would go, number one, I need to pay attention to what I'm thinking. Number two, I need to pay attention to what I'm feeling, right? That's number two, right? I need to also pay attention to the words that are coming out of my mouth, right? I need to see where I'm reacting. You know, in other words, when I'm really getting this, I'll be able to tell myself to do this all day long. Now I know I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Now I know I'm about to change everything. So that's what I'm telling you right now, is that you can have vigilance and you can have discipline, and it's the easiest way to have vigilance and discipline is to answer one question. What do I want in my heart? What really turns me on? What really fires me up? And you can tell a fake desire. You want to know how you can tell a fake desire? It does not have any juice. It does not motivate you. It does not make you want to get off your butt at all. So when I hear people say, what do you want? They say, well, I want to do, and there's no energy behind it. Oh, I think I want to teach. Really? There was no energy behind that whatsoever, you know. Oh, I really want a relationship. Really? No energy. Enthusiasm creates. Enthusiasm creates. Enthusiasm creates. Enthusiasm creates. Enthusiasm creates. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to take next month especially, I've set aside, to really answer the question, what do I want to do in my teaching career now? Where do I want to go? What do I want to do? What I want to say? What changes I want to make in it? What do I want now? How do I want to change what I do now? What direction do I want my life to go in now? Because I want to keep that juice and that enthusiasm going. And I have the freedom to make that change anytime I get ready, to make a new choice anytime I get ready. So the question you want to ask is, what do I want? And you need to ask yourself that 100 times a day. What do I want? And until you get something that gives you some juice, you haven't gotten to your spiritual instruction yet. Because your spiritual instruction from God is going to inspire you. And any answer that you give yourself that does not inspire you did not come from anything but the ego. So if you don't have any energy behind what you're saying you want, you need to keep asking the question, because it's not what you really want yet. No matter how much you think you say it. That's why when people say stuff like, I want more money. I don't mean, that's not what you really want. What you really want is something you can get your heart into that makes you jump up and look so forward to the day that you can't hardly wait to get out of bed. That's just old programming. I want money. I just want a job. I just want to, you know that's not what you want. You know you want more than that. You know you want more than that. You don't want a relationship. You want a fulfilling, evolving relationship. You know, you don't want just money. You want abundance. Yeah, you know that's the stuff that we programmed to say we want is not what we really want. You want more in your life than to lose 10 pounds. You know you do. No matter how much the ego will tell you it's about losing 10 pounds. You know that's not what's going to motivate you, because you've already lost 10 pounds. So when you leave here tonight, your assignment in the week coming up is to answer the question, what do I really, really want? And if you say anything to yourself that you don't feel any kind of motivation, you can just wipe that one out. That's not what you really want. That's just your ego saying something that's in the habit of saying. Because your real heart's desire is going to make you feel excited. And I want to get more in touch with my heart's desire. And I'm going to set that assignment for myself. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Woo! Thank you for listening to this much, Holy Spirit. You give it to yourself. Just not to me, but to y'all. Absolutely. Wow. All right, let's do the financial expression of appreciation.
Are you singing?
So thank you for sharing with me, with my full-time ministry. And quick commercial on the internet, doggone it. Thank you so much for the responses that I've been getting. Thank you so much for your generosity. And if you want to make a financial expression of appreciation and you're watching online, you can go to my website at www.earlpurdy.com. Also, people have contacted me, and I am doing coaching and one-on-one personal coaching and tutoring when it comes to the Course in Miracles and the Way of Mastery, and how to really do it, and how to really be able to do it in a way that's fast and effective and you understand it. I do sessions for that, and so you can contact me. I got that on the website also. and personal sessions called clarity sessions that can also get you in touch with how to remove the blocks that's keeping you from having what you want right now. And all the classes are on my website and also on YouTube. So there's a lot of support out there if we want it. And I believe we want it. I trust that we want it. I have faith that we want it. So Sunday we're going to do the Course in Miracles, and I want to invite you to come back at 1 o'clock for that. So we're going to wrap it up. Are there any other comments or questions or anything before we wind this down tonight? I'm going to go over the 4 stages right now. So if you want to just listen to it so you can just kind of get it in your mind, that's okay. It's fine. Remember, you want to answer the question, what do I want? What do I really, really want? What do I want? What do I really want? What do I really, really, really want? That's the question we're going to ask. So awakening requires an act of vigilance and discipline. You want to cultivate a way of living in which you observe your thoughts. Observe your own 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 thoughts. Listen to the words that are coming out your mouth. Listen to the words that are coming out your mouth. Listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth. Listen to your words that are coming out of your mouth. Listen to your words that are coming out of your mouth. Listen to the words that are coming out your mouth. Listen to the words that are coming out your mouth. Listen to the words that are coming out your mouth. Observe the feelings that you feel. Observe the feelings that you feel. What are you feeling right now? What are you feeling right now? How do you feel right now? Now the Course says that sometimes when the truth really gets through, that you can tell because your ego will feel weary and kind of fatigued. So if you're feeling a little weary and you're feeling a little fatigued, it's actually a sign that you really heard something. If you're feeling a little weary and you're feeling a little fatigued, it actually is a normal ego reaction to hearing the truth. So you observe your thoughts, you listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth, and you observe the feelings that are evoked within your body. You observe your own thoughts, you listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth, you observe the feelings that are evoked within your body. You also check out the reactivity that seems to own you. You want to also notice what you are reacting to. Notice what you are reacting to. What generates the most reaction in you? How are you reacting to your experience? And if you will do those things, you will begin to see things as innocent and simply self-caused. I'm going to say it again. Observe your own thoughts. Observe your own thoughts. Listen to the words that are coming out your mouth. Listen to the words that are coming out your mouth. Observe the feelings that are evoked within you. Observe the feelings that are evoked within you. Observe the feelings that are evoked within you. Observe the feelings that are evoked within you and the reactivity that seems to own you. What are you reacting to that seems to own you? What are you reacting to that seems to own you? What are you reacting to that it seems like you can't help yourself? What are you reacting to that it seems like you can't even help yourself? Nothing that you experience, nothing that you experience has been caused by anything outside of you. Observe your thoughts. Observe the words that are coming out of your mouth. Observe the feelings that are evoked within you. Notice where you tend to react and you can't even help yourself. It almost seems like it owns you. And if you do that, it will allow you to see the innocence in you and also get you in touch with your power to create. May the course be with you. You are beings unlimited by nature, born into flesh to materialize the great joy and spontaneity of your nature. You are beings unlimited by nature, born into flesh to materialize the great joy and spontaneity of your nature. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for coming out and helping me remember tonight. Remember your assignment. What do you really want? What turns you on? What fires you up? What generates excitement? And if there's no excitement, it's not your spiritual guidance. If you don't feel inspired, it's not coming from your God self. So that's your test. That's how you'll always know. If it's your true guidance, you will feel motivated. It will excite you to do it. And it will be something that you're doing that you completely lose sight of time. That while you're doing it, before you know it, hours has gone by and you go, oh, I can't even believe I've been doing this 4 or 5 hours. You go into eternity when you're doing your particular gift. You have no sense of time. Time doesn't mean anything when you're doing the thing that you really love. That's what we're asking for. That's what we're looking for. All right? Appreciate y'all. Thanks.
Thank you, girl.
You got it. Thank y'all. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm just an aspect of you.
Yeah.
That's right. So kiss my aspect.